So welcome to April's Q&A session, and it's nice to see that the clocks are going forward for us and it's still lovely sunshine outside. So this is the first time we've done it in daylight, isn't it?
No, it is actually.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
so it's a natural light instead of filming lights going on. So hopefully the sun stays up long enough that you can all still see us at the end.
That would be great funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if we just disappear into darkness, just put a question on so as we know.
You just see the white teeth.
Yeah. So let's get started. So the first one's a question from Liz. Can you recommend a courier company to transport tiered cakes? I want to sell off the peg affordable wedding cakes. Transport will make the difference between ticking over and making a profit. Well, we've had some experience with that.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah, well we had the same thought when we had the cake shop, and it was around at the same time as we were in Jenner's Princes Street, and that kind of pushed us to go for try and do the off-the-shelf cakes. So we're selling off-the-shelf cakes in Jenner's, and we'd found these lovely acetate boxes with a gold base, the navy blue base, the bows, etc. So we started in off-the-shelf cakes, but we had more waste than we did making profit. So it was a waste of time. So at the same time, because we went through the whole product development, we looked into start doing mail order cakes. And probably to start with, actually, I don't know if it was just fluke. To start with, it was actually fine.
Well, you designed a range that were just single tiered, you know, quite robustly.
Yeah, and they were fine. We did I remember doing a car cake, and it was going into, I think it was Birmingham or Manchester Hilton. It was a 3D car cake, and then we got a phone call from the manager or whoever was on reception to say the cake had arrived, and they could see the cake before they even opened the box. So the cake had a massive hole in it, and they could actually see the cake, and the tire was missing and all that. And then it just actually, from that day forward, I don't know what happened, it just got worse and worse. And it was every Monday or every day the cake, we're getting a phone call, a complaint to say the cake was bashed or had fallen over. And what happened was it started out a horrible negativity, because you just made cakes knowing they were going to get bashed. So you made the cake in a negative energy. And then David he got more egg in it because he was nothing to do with the production, but of course David was dealing with the complaints. So all of a sudden this horrible spiral started, and then so one day we just said no, it wasn't worth it.
That was quite quickly afterwards. I think it was just a couple of weeks, because well, obviously you're looking after your reputation as well.
Well, I think I was doing mail order for about 6 months, but only cupcakes. And then we progressed onto the big cakes, and it's the same as everything. You do the cupcakes and it was doing well, so we thought, like, oh my goodness, we could send everything. So personal experience, we would unfortunately say no, but you do get private couriers, more expensive, but you can get private couriers.
What the difference is that the private couriers will guarantee that they'll hand deliver that product without going through Steve's warehouses.
Yeah.
What your big DHLs and all these people do, they just take them from distribution centre to distribution centre to distribution centre, which means that they can do it far more cheaply. Yeah. But it's just getting thrown from pillar to post. I mean, we'd all the right to. In
fact, we did that. At one point, we did a van driver. So we actually got an independent delivery company, and it's just the one guy in his van. And he used to deliver the cakes all around Scotland for us. It was more expensive, but it worked fine. And we did a Touchwood. That's not. It's IKEA. Maybe it's plastic. No, but we had no problem. So if we're going to go for it, I would decide to go down your independent private one man in a van.
The cost, because the question there was all about making profit, and that there just isn't profit if you're paying for one man in a van. Because when we were delivering cakes from Linlithgow near Edinburgh to London, which is about 400 or 500 miles. I mean, it was a full day for me, or it was a long day out the office to deliver that cake, and the amount of fuel that you're.
But you charged a lot. How much?
It was about £300 delivery, so we still made some money, but
for the rewards.
But that's how much a private, one-man band will probably need to charge in order to make it profitable for them. So we would unfortunately steer away. And if you ask any of the couriers to ensure the product's going down, I'm afraid insurers just won't touch it at all. No, and they won't insure it.
I know that Planet Cake in Sydney, Australia, used to send cakes by mail order. So maybe ask them, maybe drop them an email. I don't know, but I'm sure I spoke to fake aisle, and I'm sure she said that they had some problems as well. So
well, that was quite big for a time over there. They would fly them within Australia. That you know, they built up a relationship with the courier, but as far as we know, they've since stopped that.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid it's quite a negative
I know.
tonight. But, well, Christine's got a question. We'll see if we can make it more positive.
Yep. Hi. What kind of cake is the best to use to make a stacked cake, and how do you work out the quantities of ingredients for different sizes of cake? Thanks, Christine. So that's quite a hot topic for us because we've been having meetings all day, and one of them is exactly this, and it's a cake calculator and how to work out the percentages of increasing the ingredients or decreasing ingredients depending on the size. So it's quite exciting, and it's in development. It should be live, you know, within the year.
It shouldn't be too long, but we've just really discussed the concept this afternoon, and it's to go to the developer. He'll give us a time, but the concept is that if you know the ingredients of a 10-inch square cake, if that's what the recipe is for, and you want to bake an 8-inch round or a 12-inch square, you'll just take these ingredients, put them into the system, and it will tell you the proportions or the quantities that you'll need to use. So the first part of the question is what
kind of cake? So for me, you've got two types of cake. You've got a sort of Madeira cake, which is okay. The problem with the Madeira cake is it dries out very quickly, and sometimes the structure can be a hit or miss. So what I like to use is more the American mud pie type or Syrian mud pie cake, which is more of an oil-based cake. So if you Google, I'm actually it's almost like you know what we've been talking about today. Is there a camera or something here? Oh, there is. So yeah, I'm going to be developing a new recipe, and it's going to be a carving cake that's moist. It's going to be based with white chocolate, but you won't really taste the white chocolate. The white chocolate is what gives it the moisture, just like the chocolate cake that we've got on the website. So it's going to be a vanilla white chocolate sponge cake. It's going to be ideal for stacking and carving. So again, we'll be coming shortly as well, which is I can't wait to get started. So hopefully that's going to answer your question. It doesn't really, but Madeira or a kind of oil-based sponge is what I would recommend for stacked cakes.
Just for now, though, there is something on the website. If you go into the blog and if you type in the search box in the blog what cake size tin to use, or what cake size or tin size, so a search along these lines, and you know what you'll get is that there's a grid, and on the left is the starting recipe, and you know it'll explain what to do. Some people have found that a little hard to work out, so this is why we're looking at the calculator to try and work all that out.
So I've just read the next one, and honestly, I think people have been been spied on today. The next one is
I'm still having trouble pricing my cakes. Too high, not enough customers. Too low, not any profit. Understand that the pricing grids that we work with,
but don't know
what to put.
Where to start with the numbers to increase? Yeah.
So I think, well, pricing. We had an excited debate this afternoon because I'm trying to look at it from more of an accountancy point of view, and Paul's trying to look at it as more from a cake decorator's point of view, who doesn't want to know too much about the account side. But that's good because what we have, and again this is just in concept, but what we potentially have is two different calculators. One that will work out what you might want to charge and what the gross profit is. Don't want to get too tied up in all this just now, but then for those that are more serious about the whole business and the development and looking at net profit, which is a far clearer indication of how well your business is doing in gross profit. So these are the two calculators that we're going to work on. But there's a couple of things. We were back. Martin Robertson, who's our business coach and chartered accountant, he's created what we call a know your numbers video, and Are you paying attention?
Sorry.
So there's a dog down here.
I know.
Yeah. So he's created that I know your numbers video, and that's going to go into things at the top level, in the middle level, and that there are spreadsheets, workable spreadsheets that will let you know the detail. So that's going to be released on, that's the year planner behind me, and it's on Monday the 21st of April. So that's all set to go, and I know Greg and Martin have been finalising all the details. So that will certainly help. And the other thing that we talk about is the rule of threes, which is a very, very quick and not to be taken too literally. But if you know the cost of ingredients, if you work that out as 30% of the price that you need to charge, that gives you 70% gross profit, and that gross profit gets chewed up normally by another 30% for your overheads, 30% for your time, and 10% for profit tax.
Yeah, and so see, it goes right over my head into that. So I understand a lot of cake designers are being the same.
Okay.
The same. So what we're going to do is try and make it as easy as possible with David's new calculator that we're working out. Because I know a lot of people have got cake heads. I've got a cake head.
Yeah.
David's got a not cake head. So it's we're going to try and do two calculators, one for people like me and one for people like David, where it helps everyone out. So yeah.
But it is the thing that comes up certainly in the pro members Facebook page, which is going great. So thanks to everybody who's involved in that, and for those that aren't, just feel free to get in touch. We can link you up with how to get involved there. But a lot of the time it's about pricing.
And the nice thing about the calculator is once it's up and running. So say, for instance, you've been doing cakes the last couple of weeks, and you've got to wonder how much profit I made from it. You can then go and type all the numbers in, and it'll tell you what your profit is, and then you'll know if you have been making money or not from it. So, and once you start using the calculator over and over again, what will happen is the calculator will end up being in the head, and it gets to the stage where you look at a cake and you know exactly. And that's what we did. It took us for about a year and a half to do that.
The thing was, we hugely undercharged at the beginning, and
if we had a calculator back then,
you go back to the mistake of, because you were so busy, and we thought we were profitable because all this money was coming in, and as you know, cakes are cash rich because you take deposits and you get balances before you need to pay the bills for the ingredients. If you're set up with suppliers, etc. And right back at the very, very beginning, the guy from Fleming Howden, I can't remember his name, but he was, he came in and basically told Paul that he would never make it through the winter. So this was like 2002, and the problem was that all this money was coming in, but Paul wasn't good at was bringing the invoices through or showing them. So the ingredient costs weren't getting paid, so all this money was sitting in the bank.
It would just come in and sit on the shelf and forget about it, which wasn't good. But that's why I remember the cake head.
Yeah. So, but as Martin will explain in the video, you don't have to be an accountant, or you don't have to, look at spreadsheets to understand them. But there are, running a business at any level, there are certain numbers that you really, really, really need to know. Number one's your break even, but Martin will tell you how to work all that out. But if you don't know your break even and you continue to make a loss, it might take you a long while before you actually work that out. But if you sit down and just do the calculation, then it'll be very clear if you're making a loss, and it'll motivate you to do something about it. Anyway, that sounds like a lecture, doesn't it? I need to get off my soapbox. So that.
Okay, moving on. I can't put it down, use it.
Okay, so that's Carrie McGee. How do you approach adjusting recipes at height elevation? I'm trying to bake a chocolate cake that keeps falling after an hour baking time, but 15 minutes before the cake's finished baking. Sorry, I just need to go up a bit. I've increased the flour, which has helped some, but it's still falling. The same recipe bakes perfectly on the East Coast. I have the same problem with coconut cake. Let me read that again.
And
Yeah. How do you approach adjusting recipes at height elevation? Oh, sorry. Yeah, height.
Oh.
I thought it meant the height of the cave.
So did I. then talk about the East Coast. I thought,
We're talking
oh my
about somebody in
goodness.
Denver. You know, yeah. Okay.
Oh, so this is a hard
that's,
one.
That's definitely for you.
Oh, unfortunately, I think it's the first time I've came across a question that I don't actually know how to answer. Obviously, we never had that problem before because we never really lived at any height at all. We've only lived 5 minutes from the ocean anywhere we've lived. So, I honestly, I'd have to research. I'd have to ask some friends that live in high up places and ask the question.
Like God.
Yeah, like God. Yeah, so I've got some geeky friends that live in like areas of Canada, etc. That I could maybe ask. But the problem is they'll be using that recipe all the time. So yeah, I'm just trying to work out.
You'd think in the oven it wouldn't matter what height, but obviously it does. So.
I can't work it out at all. So unfortunately, I can't answer that question, which is frustrating.
What we'll do is I'll need to scribble a note, and what we'll do is we'll put that in the Facebook group. And Carrie, if you're not a member of the Facebook group, just drop me an email, and we'll try and work out the answer. So excuse me while I go and scribble.
Mark's going to send you an email.
Oh, right,
yeah,
okay.
That's fine.
Saves scribbling.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sort of, yeah, height elevation, I was thinking, yeah. So another question from Carrie, if you from the Facebook class, if you should network other businesses from your personal account, how do they ever know about your business or see any of your work? But I know what we had Debbie Brown, a good cake friend of ours, and she built up quite a big following on her personal page, and then quickly realised she'd hit a ceiling, and she needed to move on and create a business page. And it wasn't so easy getting everybody off her personal page and onto her business page. So Paul's got a personal page and the business page.
Yeah.
So
Well,
how do you juggle it?
Yeah, well, to start off with, I found it really hard to juggle it. So when we first started the Facebook page, we didn't have the business one, it was just me. So it was very much a mix of 50-50. So it was cake and personal stuff. And then we launched the business page. And what happened was I just completely forgot about my personal page and didn't do any work on it at all. So that just did everything on the business page. And then I found it really difficult to separate because people love to see pictures on the business page of the dogs and our travels and all that kind of stuff. But I think we've got the nice balance now where we generally keep all just cakey stuff to the cake business side. And maybe once a month put a picture of the dogs or something on, just once a month. And I just do all the silly stuff on the business and personal page. But it means I've not got a real personal page. So everything that I've got on my personal page is kind of seen by everyone, business, students, the whole lot, so it's quite difficult. So I keep on meaning to do it, and that's to actually have a third account that is completely closed and it is just for personal friends.
But then when do you stop? And I think what Facebook are keen to do is to make a very clear difference between if you're running a personal page, it should be personal.
If you're starting from scratch, definitely.
Yeah.
I would, if I was starting from scratch again, the personal page I would actually close and just have it as friends, and then just do the business one purely as business. Yeah. But because I've got so many cake friends on the personal page, it's very, very difficult. The problem is just like you say, I wouldn't want to manage three pages because it's hard enough to keep 2 pages feeling good without having a third one to worry about. So
yeah, in the business one, you get to promote posts and boost posts, and you can get involved in advertising things which your personal account wouldn't necessarily allow you to do. So, and certainly Facebook if you are running a business, they want you to be running it as a business page. So try not to buck the system. I mean, it might be that you're just getting up and started, but that's probably the right time to have the business page. And you still occasionally put some personal things in there because it is of interest to the people on the business page. But
oh yeah, well,
all the
I mean, we like to come across as very much a family business. We definitely don't want to come across as corporate. So that's why we were very happy showing a lot of our personal stuff with the business or the community of Cake, because it just shows how we run our life, and very much Cake is our life. So
and dogs.
And dogs, Cake Dogs is our life. So we're very open and we don't hide things. And some people say you should hide a lot of stuff, but we're just very open, and we like to be quite a happy family feel about the business. So
yeah. I think I mean, it's unless you're entirely uncomfortable, I would put everything onto your business page and run that for the business. And you'll start to see things like boosting posts, which comes in very handy. It'll cost you. You need to link payment details behind all that, but it's worth doing, because Facebook. Oh gosh, it's a while ago now.
I'm just reading that again. I don't think we've answered the question properly.
Okay.
So it's what she's asking is, if you've got a personal page, how do other businesses, because they don't normally link business and personal page.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. So I mean, I think you really do need to open a business account. Yeah. Because it's hard to link businesses to personal pages.
I think that businesses and businesses work together, personal and personal. That's where a lot of the tutors and guest tutors that we've had are on the personal page, but if they've got a business, we're also linking.
I definitely recommend, Kaya, that you get a business page. What can you answer what we're talking about anyway? Because if you've got the business, then you can cross over every so often, but at least you still got your business and your personal.
So it's a business page and a personal account.
So the business page is within the personal account.
That's it.
Good.
Okay.
Mary Williamson.
Yeah.
I would like to know what both your goals are in the future. Who would you most like to make a cake for?
Do you know what? I've actually got our goals written behind me.
Have you?
Yes. I've got my goals. The goals for the future. But first and foremost is to continue growing.
Sorry, can I just 2 seconds? There's someone's posted on the pro page, making cakes at altitude by Betty Crocker. So I forgot to mention that before. I think Mark was just saying that's their. So on the pro page. Someone's actually put it on the Facebook page there for you. So there we go. Sorry, just before I forgot, because the news feed was going up, and I might have forgotten about it.
We need to be rid of that ourselves.
Yeah. Interesting.
So Mary had asked what are our goals for the future, and who would you like most to make the cake for? Goals for the future are. It's interesting because there's personal and business, and the personal goals are all written down there, and because business is our life, there's so much that's interchanged. There's a couple of things bubbling away that we can't talk about at the moment, but all will become clear. But there's a couple of for us they're big developments, but what we absolutely want to make sure is that the tutorials and the members are completely, everything's underpinned, and we're doing the best job that we possibly can there, and then do other, I'm not being very clear, am I? Doing other activities that are going to help that, and to give the members, maybe all I can say is maybe a little bit more exposure to Paul, but that's probably as much as I can get away with right now. Right, this is for you. Who would you most like to make a cake for?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny because the first time I said it was the Queen, but I made 6 cakes for the Queen. I know.
Getting us some modest.
I know. I've not thought of that. I mean, when we had the cake shop, we used to think about it all the time. So I was very, very eager to get celebrity cakes. But I'm very lucky that I've made a lot of cakes for celebrities over the years. So it's not on my list. Probably for me, my personal goals now is seeing other people achieve their cake dreams through the website. That in my mind's kind of changed a lot. So when I get lots of messages, not lots, but I get quite a few. I posted one on the business page the other day there, not the pro one, but the business one, about the lady with the teddy bear cake, and she came on our wedding course in the last one we had in Kenmore, and now she's retired, started her business, really enjoying it. And it's and for me that's where I get that's where I get the feel good factor. When you make a cake for someone, they come in, they're crying or with happiness, so they give you a nice card or a box of chocolates. Well, that's my feel good factor now, is when you guys give a nice letter and say that you're doing well through the website, etc. So, but obviously, if any stubbers out there who would like to make a cake for them, Monaco, in these places. Then yeah, you know where to find me on the website, www.designercakes.com.
Yeah, that was a politician's answer. I think we can put that down to. So a question from Tracy, who says, hello there. I'm hoping to be starting my business in about 3 months' time. I've made some cakes for her husband and the boys in the past 20 years. I've copied some of them from books or changed some of them slightly. When I get my business Facebook and website up and running, we're able to post the photos, or will copyright come into it? I want to put them on to show some of the work that I'm able to do. Yes, this comes back to the copyright issue. Yeah. So,
right, so the book things is a hard one. I've written a book, and absolutely no way is there a copyright issue with any of the cakes that I make. So all the ones that I do on the tutorials, you can copy them exactly the same and then retail them as your own. I've not got a problem with it at all. Now there is some cake designers that have got, it does say in the small print in the back of the book, that you can only make the cakes for personal use and not for business use. So just like you're speaking to us, if it's say a book from Debbie Brown, which is probably a high chance because she's been in books for a long time, why not just Facebook her? Just ask her. It's the easiest thing, and sometimes asking is better than just doing, and you might even get a better bit of publicity from it. I don't know, but everyone's just human, and it does no harm to ask. If you Google a lot of Debbie Brown's cakes on Google Images, hundreds of people do them, and they're all over Facebook, etc., etc. And I think nowadays, with people sharing so much, it's less and less a problem. The problem's more with the big, more copyrights like Louis Vuitton and all these type of things. So you're treading on eggshells a little bit. It's such a grey area. The lawyer's answer would be no. You have to make everything with your own eyes, and you can't copy anything that's branded or etc., etc., etc. But of course, it's very, very difficult to that. The fact that you've said that you've changed a lot of them and tweaked them, then they're the ones that obviously are very safe to put on, because it'll be obvious that you've copied the fairy tale castle from Debbie Brown, but you've changed the colour. You've got a dragon instead of a butterfly. So and they're the safe cakes. If you copied it bit by bit, then it's maybe just better to drop them a little message on Facebook or email just to ask for that. But
it is, it's unlikely that they would ever pursue you, but it's, and I think somebody had emailed us at some point over one of the cakes in the Christmas cakes book, and just with what we do, and we've for us not to want people to copy them, I feel would be what would be the point of buying the book. But
yeah,
the thing is, there's just check the back of the book. It may or may not say. If it doesn't say anything, then you're free to use them. But as Paul says, if there's been sufficient changes, is it 3 main points? Three main points of difference.
Yeah. So
I know it's an awful lot of work to recreate that, just to recreate the 3 points of difference. But it's probably worth an approach to the artist and just say, look,
I would just say you're a beginner cake designer, starting a business. You've been copying a lot of the cakes from your cake book over the last 20 years. I love your cake book. Would you mind if I put these on to show people how good I am at cake decorating? Thanks to you. and I'll if you want, I'll put inspiration from Debbie Brown, or inspiration from Maisie Parish, inspiration from Paul Bradford. You know, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have it with me, but you know, that kind of thing, and it just, I think it's a bit more courteous to do it that way.
Yeah. No, that's
good.
It's always
high five.
Copyright's always a tricky one.
It's very difficult, but everything in the world's copied. It is fashion. You go into one shop, fashion shop, you go into the next one, they've got very, very similar clothes. It is.
A fashion shop.
Oh, I never go to fashion shops, but River Island, TK Maxx. But you know, when you go into shops, even homeware shops or interior design shops, that everyone's quite similar, or they just tweak it a little bit. So that's just the way forward. Yeah. Go.
Question from Michael Reynolds. Is it possible to use lemon extract instead of the 95% alcohol? I can't seem to purchase it. It was discussed on the Facebook page this week, but I'm unsure what I'm looking for. Does it have a name? Many thanks.
Yeah. Since probably, let's just think, in the last 3 years I could get it okay. Probably, actually no, it was probably longer than that. Probably about 4 years I could buy alcohol from the chemist. And nowadays you can only get 74%. So I ran out recently when I was filming. I ran down, ordered it the next day, it came in, and it worked okay to 70%, but it still takes a little bit long to evaporate. I've tried the lemon extract, and I didn't find it worked even remotely the same as the 95. Excuse me, the 95. I use the 96%. So I put on Facebook that I actually buy it when I'm abroad. Because I think the reason why you can't get it in the UK is because we have a lot of people who might want to drink it, and so you've got to have a license to buy it at 96%. You can't even get it in the chemist at 96%. You used to really get it in the chemist because they used to use it for cleaning, but now you get all these gels. They don't need to buy it in anymore, so that's why they've stopped retailing it.
So what would you do then if you're not going abroad?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, I've looked at could I post it back, because I've got a few cakey friends that were needing it. But it's actually illegal to post alcohol by post. It's at a high percentage. So I've got to take it back in the suitcase, and I'm not bringing back 3,000 bottles of alcohol. So you need to just hop on the ferry to France.
Yeah.
No, if you know someone, you can't. There is nowhere to get it in the UK.
So what would happen if you say we can get it?
Well, 70% is the next best thing. Yeah. So
do you need to make any adjustments for that?
No, I think it's 70. I think it was 74%. And I used it. I can't remember which cake was I making. It was last time I was filming. I can't remember which one it was. And I was doing the painting of the dust on the cake, and it did work. It just took a little bit longer. There was a few wee blobby bits that weren't perfect, but it still gave a really nice shine to the cake. But it's the Carrefour or Carrefour supermarkets, and it's a French supermarket, but they've got them in Spain and different places like that. So and it's only €2 for 500 mils, which is really upsetting when it's so hard to get in the UK. So they sell it by the makeup aisle, so most people are using.
How do you get it if you can't?
Oh yeah, no, but I'm just saying if you're going on holiday this year, then you need to go to the supermarkets and buy. And you can't. That's 70%.
So 70%.
Yeah, so in the UK all you can do is 70%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that still works, but just not as well. It doesn't dry as quick.
But I mean, most people know someone who's going on holiday to Spain or France. And everyone generally goes to the supermarket when they're on holiday. So but I've got a picture on my personal page. I'll post a picture of it on the pro page tonight, of the one that I buy. And if you do know someone who's going, you can show them the picture. But unfortunately, it's illegal to buy it in the UK without a license. So, all right, I can feel a domestic coming on there. Right, moving on.
Okay, there's another one for you. So, how do you avoid sugar paste cracking on the edges of the cake? Also, what's the best way to dry sugar paste models? Yeah.
So the cracking sugar paste used to be the nightmare for me with the cake shop, and there wasn't that good a choice of sugar pastes out there. Unfortunately, Renshaw's does have a high cracking. It cracks a lot when you're icing cakes. I've not used Renshaw's to cover for a while, but I think I did run out recently. And the key thing is speed. when you're icing the cake, you've really got to soften it up, chaff it up, roll it out, get it on the cake, fast, and just start smoothing. As soon as the sugar paste on the top, you need to go round and warm the edges up. As soon as you warm the edges up, the cracks are gone before you start working on the top or the sides. So ice the cake straight on there. So I do remember Renshaw's giving me quite a lot of problems with that. As I say, I've not used it recently, so I don't know if they've changed the recipe. But I do know that Squire's Kitchen Sugar Paste goes on a dream. Masticino, the one I like using the most, goes on a dream as well. And also Sweet Art sugar paste from Portugal also works really well. Now, if you want to save some money, it does work doing a 50-50. Again, that was a while ago, but if you do 500 grams, say, of Renshaw's and 500 grams of Squire's or Masticino, and it's a Masticino Tropical is the favourite one for me to use. It comes in a pail, and then it's going to reduce your price because it's going to go a lot further than Masticino sugar paste. So, but the main thing is speed, and if you can afford it, go for the slightly more expensive sugar paste from that. All right.
So the next one is from one of our guests. Love your company in the tutorials, so thank you for that. That's good. And what insider tips would you give to add to a marketing strategy for a new company starting up? I do unique cakes. You can check them out here at www.brutusbakesshop.com, and I'd love to hear what you guys did to grow things in the very beginning. What some of you don't realise is that we're actually getting a bit of a hand as these questions all feed in, and Mark at the other end has had a look and he's put lots of thumbs up, Ace Cakes. So that's a great sign, and that's a great endorsement if you're about to set up. And that's one of the key things. You need to have a good product. But with the marketing, we did an awful lot at the very beginning, which, although we had a website, we kind of started to grow that back in 2002. Websites and certainly Facebook wasn't around. So what we did is we knocked on doors. We put leaflets through doors. Paul did an awful lot of free training sessions,
demonstrations, workshops, all free, just to get people to know, just to know the name and the character, and of course you can take all your cakes along with you, so they can see that. And all it takes is a coffee morning, a local little tea room, lots of guilds, the farmers, young farmers. There's the rural, the British Sugarcraft Guild. Well, maybe not the British Sugarcraft Guild. What was I was thinking of? So a lot of the guilds, because they just love to have someone new, and love when someone's nervous. I remember being so nervous at the beginning. I used to be so terrified, but they actually love it because it makes you more endearing. So they really like seeing somebody nervous because they almost want you to win, which is really nice.
I think just what you had to do an awful lot was push yourself outside the comfort zone. Because a lot of people these days, unfortunately, expect with social media and a website that's the marketing done. They can sit back and just expect customers to come flooding to them. Unfortunately, it's still not the case. You need to be doing some great stuff, and Mark just like the photography is excellent. So the imagery there and promoting your business is all so important. So it's getting it out to all these extra people. I keep using the hairdresser one, which is a very cheap and easy way to get your business in front of your target audience. Because a lot of people say, well, my target audience, where do I find them? Well, if you're looking for somebody to pay, as an example, £100 for a birthday cake, then you need to be targeting folk that are quite happy to pay £50, £60 for the hairdressers. So if you find that type of hairdresser in your local area, take them some cake samples down. Take them cake samples down regularly every Friday. So when people are sitting around with not much to talk about other than the weather.
And also nowadays you can get the cheap albums made up, and it's everyone's bored to get the haircut or whatever. So if you have little albums made, just sat each table, each seat. When they're having a haircut, they could be flicking through the cake pictures.
And then the next stage, just ask if you can decorate one of their very quiet little corners with a little IKEA cake stand, and stick 4 of your cakes in there. It'll get people talking. Very cheap and effective. And the reason most people don't do it is because they're scared of rejection, because they don't want to put themselves out there, they don't want to go outside the comfort zone. And the amount of times when I've knocked on hotel doors and I've had far more doors slammed in my face than actually got us in. And probably, you know, one of the big breaks was the Scottish Television, when they had this programme that it was like a magazine type programme, and it was on for an hour every weekday night, and they had a slot that was all about cooking, and I kept seeing if Paul could go on. No,
I think it took a year.
Took a year, and I put it in my diary every second month to keep asking, phoning up, and I'd even in one trip when I was at Loch Lomond, I dropped a tray of cupcakes off to their production team on the way back through Glasgow, drove off, and it was a couple of weeks later we got the call, and would you like to go on live TV tomorrow to make them their first anniversary cake? And I said, of course he would. And Paul was absolutely petrified.
It was a cool cake. They wanted a retro television with little legs and also the logo of the logo of the TV show on the front of the TV, and then the two presenters sat on top. The thing is, I mean, people seeing Paul doing cakes on television. Maybe I shouldn't down the ego too much, but you know, it wasn't necessarily because he was the best cake designer around. It was because he was one of the best cake designers around, but the persistence to get the act in, but also to have the courage to jump outside the comfort zone and do it. Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about the comfort zone, and probably I've been quite lucky on David, because I wouldn't have done half the stuff without David pushing me, just saying do it. And then once we did a few, and I started talking about the stories, and that's what I do on Monday now, is talk about all the stories. I wouldn't have had the stories without David pushing me out of the comfort zone to have the stories. Some of the comfort zones I had to say no because I was just too scared to go to certain places. Without them, without being at the comfort zone, and that's why doing a demonstration in front of. Also, like schools, you know, high schools or whatever, if they've got little fairs on, of course, because all the mums go along, and of course the mums are the ones who are going to buy cakes for the kiddies. So that's your target audience there, which sounds terrible, but you know, if you can tie up something to do with a school, high school, secondary schools, whatever, it's the mums and dads who are going to buy your cakes, and future brides and grooms as well.
Yeah, the other thing that was just struck me is, you know, PR. You can doing a press release to your local magazine, local newspaper, because we would create a story. You know,
what's the name of that website you used to use?
Press Livewire. So it's the book. It's actually there, the Brad Sugars book, Instant Promotions. So I just had read that one day and was able to put together a press release. So it's not as daunting as it might sound. And you know, we've used it many times, and we've had an awful lot of uptake. And you know, we used our press release to get a story. We created this competition where I'd just written out to all the local primary schools. So everybody in, I think it was, you know, like 7, 8 years old, could submit a picture that they'd drawn of a cupcake
for Mother's Day.
Yeah. So once we had that, I'd written off to the local papers and said, look, you know, we've got this, and the winners are going to get to make, the top 3 are going to get to make these cupcakes with Paul, and we're going to sell them at our Cupcake Cafe Bar. It went down an absolute storm, and I remember the photographer.
With thousands and thousands of drawings from all the schools in the area, and it was actually overwhelming. And of course, some of them were proper little artists, and unfortunately, you wanted to pick the arty one, but you couldn't, because you couldn't really have that as a mainstream cupcake. So we had to pick a more basic one. But all the newspapers came down, and the photos taken, the mums. It was lovely.
I remember that the photographer said to us is that, you know, in marketing, it's kids sell papers. So if you can find a way to actually get the kids, you know, involved in something. But
even the parents loved coming down, because when they saw the studio and they were obviously loving seeing their child being shown how to make the cakes. And there's a lovely little atmosphere, wasn't it? Yeah.
I'm conscious that
go.
we're not waffling. Hopefully that's been helpful, but we've taken quite a lot of time. I know there's quite a few to do.
So read this one because I think it's a long one.
Bev here from Stroud. Hi, Bev.
Hello.
Just had a thought, is probably unable to actually make a full-time business at this time, but fellow ex-colleagues from college would like me to teach them relevant things they felt the college did not teach in detail, i.e. making sugar flowers other than roses. Teaching now to put ideas together, as a lot of them, sorry, probably not read that correctly. So let me just go back to ex-colleagues from college would like me to teach them relevant things they felt the college didn't teach them in detail, i.e. making sugar flowers other than roses. Teaching that must be how to put ideas together, as a lot of them, I'm afraid, just give it a go.
Oh, right, okay.
So,
this is quite spooky, isn't it?
Yeah,
we were talking this today as well.
How do you go about charging for time rather than cake? I'm aware costs will vary from region to region, but is there a standard rate usually charged? Obviously, taking out the cost of hiring room, dummies, etc. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I was teaching in college, a school in Dunfermline. In fact, that was right at the start when I started teaching, and they wanted to teach. It was 2 or 3 hours once a week. I can't remember. It was like 2 or 3 hours once a week for a 10-week course. And I thought, right, okay, that's fine. I can do 2 or 3 hours. But then I've got it was going to take me 45 minutes to drive there and 45 minutes to get back. And then I had to then load, because they had no tools or ingredients, just I had to get them. So I had to load the car up with all tools and ingredients, obviously order them all in. Then I had to get to the school, unload everything into the classroom, set the classroom up. And before we knew it, it was actually almost 5 hours for a 2-hour class or a 3-hour class. Yeah. So we put on a higher price, and it worked out that I was actually being paid for the 3 hours. I was being paid a higher hourly rate than the headmaster of the school, and they said that you can't tell anyone that because it looks disgraceful, it's terrible. But actually, in reality, you've got to make sure it's not. Don't just charge for the 2 hours or 3 hours that you're charging.
What's
the prep time you get in there, getting back, because it's not worth it if you don't do that. And that's the problem with teaching away from a studio. So you've got to consider all your other overheads into that. You priced the one in Dunfermline correctly, but you also did some work at school in Falkirk right at the very beginning, and you didn't price that correctly. No. So, I think you went in at something like £20 an hour. Yeah, but there was no other costs. But the thing was that was just with experience that you learned just how the 3 hours in the classroom is probably about 5 or 6 hours of the day. Yeah. But if you're starting out, then it's maybe worth bringing the cost down to get your name known. Something like that. Always make sure that people know the discount they're getting. So if you're wanting to charge £20 an hour is what you've got in your mind, just put in the invoice or say when you're negotiating that your normal rate's £40 an hour, but to prove your point here, you're going to give them 50% discount so as they know that when they come back to you, because what you don't want to do is to set your price point too low, and then they think that they can have you forevermore at that particular price point. Yeah. But it's a great idea, and it's interesting because we were talking about the gap. Another thing that's on our agenda, one of our goals. I think we can mention this. We're possibly looking at having some kind of certification within some of the courses within the tutorials, but we're outsourcing the judging of that. But there's half a story to. Yeah, I was going to say, don't say too much because it may not happen. But yeah. This is relevant as well. Carrie McGee asked, any plans to teach in the USA this year? It just so happens I've got a Skype call in the next couple of days. It's Monday, Tuesday actually. Yeah, and so I don't know if it'll happen this year, but if it's going to happen, it will be the spring of next year, and that's what I would say. Well, there's plans at the moment. Where is it? You're off to this year. It's India and Dubai, and then Australia.
Canberra to meet Heikki in Canberra.
So it's good for
February.
Alright, so it's going to be more spring summer next year.
So we're just trying to work out where and when, but definitely long overdue. You make your visas so hard to get, but
no, that's one of the problems. But fingers crossed. I'll be wearing the American flag next year, which will be quite fun. Yeah, good.
So I guess asking 6 cakes to the Queen, she must have been pretty hungry. She has put on a pound or two, I think.
Oh, what are you watching?
I'm not in her country at the moment. So.
We're very lucky to make. The story's on the website, I think, is it? Is that one of my cake stories to come up?
I don't think they've.
Is it not on there? Oh no, but there's not in the personal bit. The bio.
It's just so much.
It's not my bio.
It's all about you.
We'll make the cake shop very, very quickly. I'll do a story about it on the Facebook business page. But it was a very random situation where I was in the cake shop and this lady came in and she asked if I could make a cake. And it was a corgi, and she said, "I'm looking for a 3D corgi cake." No, that was the reason why I got the order. The year before, the Queen had a cake, and they wanted a 3D corgi. And when they delivered the cake to Balmoral in the Highlands, the Queen burst out laughing because she said it looked like a squirrel. So that cake shop got the chop after that.
Not literally.
Yeah.
She has that power.
So they came to me, they found out about me myself, and they asked if I would do a cake. And the first cake the Queen, we made for the Queen, was mini cakes, individual round mini cakes when they were in vogue. They were just trendy then, and it was just it spelled "never again corgis." That was all it was. It was so plain and basic. It was like, the first cake I'm making, it's just a plain white cake with a letter on top. So it was that, but then I really had to beef it up a little bit. So I actually made little sugar paste models of the corgis, and they were climbing around the cake. And the feedback I got after making the cake was it went down a treat. The Queen loved my lemon cake with the white chocolate ganache, and they played Scrabble over dinner, so they were moving all the words around, the letters around to make different words.
But the thing is, she can make any word up because
she's English. Anyway, so there was another 5 cakes, which. But back then you didn't do social media, or we didn't take photos, and we weren't actually allowed to take photos because we could have taken a sneaky photo, but we were just scared to get in trouble. So we don't actually have any.
Off to the tower.
I think I've got one picture of one of the cakes. It was a rowing boat, but anyway, that was lovely to get to make cakes for the Queen. What I was going to get to, the lady who actually came in was a cook for the Queen's cousin who lives near Linlithgow, and it was that way where I thought, is this true that you're in to order a cake? It was just the strangest thing, and it ended up being 6 years worth of cakes. So it was very, very cool. Yeah.
And the only reason it stopped is we closed the shop.
We sold the business.
Yeah. So 3 questions to go. So what is the best way to dry and harden sugar paste models?
Do you? Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Tylo or CMC. So 250 grams of standard sugar paste, 1 teaspoon of CMC or Tylo powder. Mix it up, and then make your models. It lasts longer, so you've got more time to stretch and bend. But then left overnight on polystyrene or foam, and the next day they dry much harder than they would be if it was just regular sugar paste. You can also use gum trag, but that takes a day to firm up before you can actually start to use it. It's a bit difficult, so I'd always recommend CMC or Tylo.
But you can get that from any.
Yeah, you can get it from any cake supply shop.
You don't have to go your holidays.
You don't have to go your holidays. In fact, the opposite. Sometimes I struggle to get that abroad, but it's easy to get in the UK. But you can buy it online, so and they ship that stuff, so that's fine.
Okay. So I love your new tutorials. If you bake your mud cake, it runs over the sides before it starts to bake.
Well, that's the best thing to eat it all.
What am I doing wrong?
So it sounds like it could be 2 things. Obviously, overfilling your pan. So I always say half fill. If it's still happening, it sounds like your oven temperature's too high. and what's happening, it's getting shocked. So it's going in the oven, you close the door, all of a sudden it goes boom, like a volcano, it just comes over the side. So I would just reduce the temperature of your oven, which will stop the volcano from happening. Yeah, that should go for me. That should be as easy as that. Fingers crossed. You can let me know. Any spare cake, just send it over.
You're in a
Actually,
diet.
I'm on day 4 or day 5. Day 4 of no chocolate. If I had this Q&A last night, the night before, we would have been fine by this point. So I've started to calm down again. So I've not got a sore head.
Okay.
Still twitching back and forward in the chair.
Last question. Can you give me advice on pricing cakes, as people are saying I'm too dear? But I don't think I am, after I've costed everything out. I just don't know what to do for the best, as I don't want to work for nothing. Well, this again comes into the pricing, and what I would say is if people are saying you're too dear, I know it's a lot easier for me to say, but I just think you're looking at the wrong target audience. I think you need to find the target audience that are prepared to pay for the cakes. If people will choose a purchase for many reasons, price is going to be one of them, convenience will be another, suitability, and is it a brand? If you saw on the shelf you'd Coca-Cola at £1 or $1 a can, and you had this cheap, nasty looking thing at 50 cents or 50p a can, you might be inclined still to choose the Coca-Cola because it's known, it's better branded, you've got some trust in that brand. You don't really know what this is going to taste like. It doesn't look that nice. So if you get the people who are just going to buy the 50p can, whether because price is the most important thing to them, then they're not going to be your customers. They're not Coca-Cola's customers. So if you are listening to these people, and I know, when we put our prices up, we did start to get that quite a lot. Oh, I'm not paying that, it's not worth that. And it does wear you down, but you've obviously done your sums and you know what you need to charge. And I think a lot of it is about hitting the right audience.
You've got to stick to your guns, you really have. But one thing I've mentioned in one of the free YouTube things we've got on the website, on YouTube, is as the pricing is the three prices. So when someone orders a cake, give them 3 prices. So give them the basic one, give them the medium price and the high price, and let them pick what they want to pay. So if they want I always use the cottage. So if someone's ordering a cottage for their granny grandpa's retirement, they could have a basic cottage, which is just a flat cake cut out in the shape of a basic house, or in the shape of their cottage. It's just quite nice, and it's just cut out slots of sugar paste sat on top. And that's it. So that's a basic one. Then you could do like a intermediate one, which is actually a 3D one, but it's just the front. So it's the shape of the house, like the camper van that I've just done on this week's tutorial. So I didn't do a full camper van. I just did the front. So that would be that cake. So in fact, we can use a camper van. So you could do a flat camper van, white, with just the front of the camper van. Then you can flip it on its side, and you just do it as if it's half just facing forward. And then you can do the full dancing and singing camper van, which is the full length camper van with all the wheels, windows, all the way around. And it's very, very easy to visualise that flat, and then just front, and then 3D full thing, and just give them the 3 prices. It works a treat, and you'll always find that people won't want to go for the basic one. They'll want to go for the middle and the high price, but most people tend to go for the middle-priced cake. So try that and just be strong. And I always say when you're pricing cakes to customers, just say, don't go just straight out. So you just go. So you want a 3D mobile phone cake? That'd be £145. Do you want to pay your deposit now, or do you want to pay the full? That you've got to be as confident as that. As soon as you go, well, I could maybe do it for this. That's your loss straight away. So just be strong, and if people don't want to pay for it, it's their loss. There is the right customer out there. It's just that they've not found you yet.
And there is, and believe it or not, certain advantages for the rumours to go around that you're too expensive. Yeah. Because you then become aspirational. What you don't want the rumours to go around are that if you go, negotiate your price. You can get 20 quid off or $20 off here and there, and you want to be known to be aspirational and walk away from an order rather than negotiate it. because you can set yourself a trip to Falmouth.
And just like what Dave was talking earlier on about the hairdressers, so if you're looking for the high end, wherever you live, look to see where that type of customer is going to be, and that's where you want to do your demonstrations.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to do your demonstration in a cafe that's in a rough part of town. You want to do a demonstration in a cafe that's the affluent part of town. That type of situation.
Yeah, well, that's actually something that Paul's looking at doing in this area. Is just almost starting from scratch again. Nobody really knows him, and without using the Facebook marketing that we have, just seeing go back to basics.
I love demonstrating.
And that's
great fun.
And it's just a case of nobody knows Paul where we are just now. So just putting up some posters, doing a free demonstration, getting the excitement going, and just trying to kind of build it up like that. But anyway, we've got a couple of things I want to mention before we go. First, if anybody's going to Cake International at Alexandra Palace this weekend, we've got lovely Sarah Lou and Deanne May who are going to be handing out the orange stickers.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so please try and find them. There's details of where to find Sarah Lou. She's exhibiting at sorry Sarah Lou, I've forgotten the stand, but it's on the Pro Members page, and it's on tonight's newsletter as well. So please look them up, grab the badges, get the discounts, and it'd be great for us to learn that you all kind of met up and had chats, which would be fab. And the other thing is that the Facebook group is really growing, and can't thank those involved enough, because it's brilliant that nobody's feeling that there's not this air of competition amongst anyone. You're all very, very keen to help, which is exactly what we wanted from it.
Yeah, it's so nice.
So if you're not a member, if you're not on the group and you'd like to join, if you just go into the courses page and the course archive page, or just all online courses, and you'll see there's a menu just in the bottom left, and that's the Pro Members benefits. So if you just click on the button there, and we'd love to see you, and
you'll find a link in there.
You'll find it.
Hit the link, and then that'll give you. You get a request.
Yeah. So there's a little form to fill in. Yeah. Then you'll get access, and just take part in that. That's. It's brilliant.
It's a fantastic group.
We learn from it as well. Because you go on and because we can't certainly don't know everything. There's lots of things that we look at and you go, okay, that's a different way of looking at that, or didn't know they did that. And now we know what the feed is for altitude cakes.
Yeah.
So anyway, we can't go without introducing you to the new edition.
Oh yeah, our new family edition.
Come on.
He's having a wee sleep.
Come on. Come on.
Off he comes. Oh, Daddy, don't.
Here's Paco. He's been sat there all patiently all night.
Oh, look at his wee sleepy head.
That's because he's been.
Oh, here comes Big Brother. Come on, up you come. Up.
Anyway, so.
Oh, he's got his toy in his mouth. There we go.
So that's us, folks. Thanks a lot for watching, and it's good night from me, and it's
good night from me.
Anymore.
Okay, see you later.
Ciao.
Bye.
That one.